All right, well, let's move on to the teaching moment. And you are going to be talking about common flaws in pitchers and the connection of how they may have developed. So, what's this all about?
Well, so all of the show today is informed by things that I was seeing and learning when I was watching while I'm in the middle of watching this playoff series. So when I'm troubleshooting, I've been troubleshooting for a long time, more than 20 years. All I do is look at pitchers' film, and I get sent film from people who live out of state. And I noticed there's a list of common faults that I see in pitchers, and they kind of drive me crazy because they involve something that has little to do. It's not like they have a bad pitching arm, but it's the glove arm. The glove arm drives me crazy the way pitchers use it sometimes. And then also the way that they handle their front leg as they're striding out. Some of them do some pretty strange things. And so over the years, as I see it more and more, I'm always thinking, why did they do this? For example, you'll see a little kid do really weird things with his glove arm wrist. And then I figured out, oh, it's because when they were little, the glove was bigger than they were. And so that's why the glove arm wrist is usually so funky on a youth pitcher by the time he gets to 10 or 12. And it's like, because since he was 5, he's had a glove on his hand that was way too big for him, and his hand couldn't hold it correctly. So it's just that kind of connection where I go, oh, this is why I see it so frequently. So it's very important for me to understand how do movement skills that are so strange. For example, this little wrist thing I talk about where the pitcher's glove arm wrist looks like he's in a Frankenstein position. How do things like that happen? Because it actually doesn't feel good, number one. Number two, it's not efficient. And it's just strange. And you don't do it anywhere else in your life. So I'm always curious about why is it that I see commonality of certain flaws. And when I was watching the game, I was watching LeMahieu, who's just absolutely incredible first baseman. I was watching him play catch, and all of a sudden I realized something. So, one of the biggest errors that happens with the glove arm on pitchers is that they have a different timing and a different length of it than they do with their pitching arm. And most pitchers that have a flaw with their glove arm, they're pulling their glove arm in too fast. And the reason why they're pulling it in too fast is they don't even let it extend out. They kind of, as minute the ball comes out of the glove, they do this quick turn of the arm, and their gloves all of a sudden under their armpit. So let's talk about a right-handed pitcher. All of a sudden, his gloves under his left armpit. His body is still turning into position. So he's got two arms that are supposed to be sort of synchronized, and they're not. And he's got a very short glove arm, quickly turning over and tucking, while the pitching arm's long and going through its length changes to come into position. Well, when I was watching LeMahieu playing catch, this is what he's doing, throwing the ball fast glove arm. And I said, oh boy. I said, you know what? Here's all these little kids who, what do they play? They play baseball first before they become pitchers. And most of them are position players. And that's a position player glove arm. And unless somebody points out, hey, guess what? You don't do your glove arm in position playing the way you do it in pitching. That little kid is going to bring that kind of glove arm to the table. And of course, it's a fast glove arm because as a position player, the ball comes to you. You don't have time to do all these things. Your job is to get to the ball and get the ball off to the next guy. So there's different throwing mechanics. It just depends on the position you find yourself in relationship to the ball. But one thing for sure is the glove arm's not doing much. It just needs to kind of catch it and then get out of the way. And so coaches, when you're looking at your kids who seem to have timing problems, their glove arm is tucked and it's creating the rotation phase too soon, be sure that you look at it from the perspective of, is that the way he does his glove arm when he's playing second base or he's a shortstop? And I can guarantee you're going to see the similarity. And that's when you have the moment with them where you let them know that the glove arm as a position player is not the same as the glove arm of a pitcher. Now, the second thing is, so now I'm thinking hitting. Hitting is something that kids usually do before they pitch. And when they hit, they have the bat way up by their ear and they're kind of twisted, and the bat's waiting up there for the ball to come. Well, in pitching, we like the glove to stay in front of the body near the sternum. At least this is the way you want to teach it to kids because it makes sense. The glove's up at the sternum, their knee is up. They lower everything together and then everything goes out together like a jumping jack. But what you see kids doing is these crazy things where they take the glove, a righty will take it way back by his right ear. And if you look at it from the perspective of it looks like he's holding a bat, that's when you're going to see, wow, here's a kid who learned how to hit first. And so he thinks that before you begin a powerful move forward, you have to be way up high, just the way you are when you're getting ready to swing. You have that bat up high, you have your arms out. In fact, they were showing, oh, I can't remember which hitter it was, but they actually showed him actually getting in that position. I think he was going to be up next, and they were just showing some of the things he did. And they were talking about, look at that beautiful position he's in, where he's in. He's just feeling that position there so that then he can. And then they started to talk about his swing. And I thought, wow, that looks like the error that I see kids making when they don't want to put the glove in front and they want to get it behind them, which of course starts causing them to turn away from the plate. And then what do you have next? You have a crazy stride going on. So I started to look at this and I thought, yeah. And you know what else happens? The front leg of kids, they tend to keep it real closed way too long, and they keep their weight in their back leg way too long. So then you start getting this diagonal look. So he's wound up like he's swinging a bat. His front leg looks like he's getting ready to stride in the way you move to hit a ball. But in pitching, you're going to go to your front leg and rotate over the front leg. You don't do that in hitting. So, what we've got are young kids who have learned the mechanics of hitting first and, of course, loved it. Loved the feeling of power, making a ball move. And then you put a glove on them and you say, okay, now you're going to throw this ball hard to the hitter. Of course, they're going to have those same mechanics. That is why I think we have kids that morph into some of these mechanical flaws. Now, if I saw these problems in pitchers just once or twice, I wouldn't be talking about it. But it is the three most common flaws, particularly in youth pitchers. And I've had pitchers that were very excellent pitchers that were having some trouble with their stride. And then I said, you know what? And I asked him, I said, were you any good at hitting? And they go, yeah, really good. And I said, "Show me how you get ready to when you're waiting for the ball to come at you." And sure enough, there they are, weight on the back leg, front leg in a certain position. It looks like it's getting ready to pump before it strides. I notice how they keep their hip. And while that's perfect for hitting, it couldn't be the worst thing for pitching. So there is a blend of the skills that kids learn early that can stay with them unless they are taught that they're two different things. So these three flaws are so common: the glove position, the quick front glove, not going through normal positioning for a pitcher, and also a front leg and leaning back with the weight that almost emulates more like preparation for hitting a ball and staying behind it rather than striding down the hill to get the hand behind it, but you're forward. And those are three things, connections I made. And when you watch the guys that are good, and then you watch the little kids, you can see how the skills that came with hitting morph into things that leak into the unusual skill of pitching, which is to any kid counterintuitive to not throw the ball right away, take the ball away from the target, go down the hill and control. It's actually opposite of everything they were trying to do to be a good hitter. So for all you coaches out there, when you're looking at your kids, look at them the next time they're pitching and look and see, does he look like he's actually getting ready to swing a bat as opposed to actually throwing with a really good pitching motion and delivery?
Wow, those are some really good connections, Angel. I have some thoughts. We talk a lot about the glove arm here and the arms being mirrored more or less through the pitching motion. The one thing that is an easy correction for the pitcher, at least to get it through to them, is the glove should be up, if for no other reason, to help hide the ball, right? Because as soon as that glove comes down and the ball's up behind you, you're showing the batter the ball. So just, besides the fact that it's a good thing to do mechanically, pitchers always love to have a little edge. So you tell them, just keep that glove up a little longer, and you'll hide it from the batter a little longer. That may help sink in their head to make sure that they do that. It's interesting that you mentioned DJ LeMahieu, and you've seen him as a first baseman primarily with the Yankees. I don't know if you know this, but he's come up as a second baseman. He really played more second base than anything else, which is crazy when you look at, he's 6'4", this giant guy, and he played second base. And I think that because of his height, he did have to work on getting rid of the ball a lot faster because he has this big long body and long arms, and that's probably part of why he throws the way he throws too, is because as a second baseman, you have to get rid of the ball fast for the double play. So that's an interesting thing. I never would have put that together. How the position players throw the ball at their position and then take those habits to the mound, and that.
Absolutely, because and here's the thing that's interesting, and if you watch the game and watch the way LeMahieu, because he's so big, it's easy to see, and the way he's facing the guy and just throws the ball to him. I'm talking about when they're just throwing in between plays. You'll notice a very distinctive glove arm, and you will go, "Oh boy, I've seen that at least 100 times with practice the other night with all the youth guys." The thing is, when you're on the field and you're in a position, that is a speed skill. People say to me, how do you teach my infielder to throw well? Can you work with them? I say, you work with them on getting to the ball quickly. And once he's at the ball, then he has to be taught how to handle all different directions of throwing. There is no one style. I would never try to limit the speed or the style. I mean, position playing is really a speed skill. It's how well can you get to the ball and manage your body weight, getting to it and then getting it off to whatever direction you have to go to. That's the first skill a position player has to have. But it's a speed skill. Whenever you have something you've learned and you've learned it, you had to learn to do it at the appropriate speed. So here's this fast glove arm, get to the ball, scoop it up in your glove, throw it sidearm, get it across the field. All of that becomes a motor pattern that's extremely powerful. Now, when you take the player who's especially a kid and he's not even in his brain thinking about this, and you try to take him and have him do something that in his brain is the same. Now you're going to throw the ball, but you're wanting him to have a completely different style unless he really gets that one is one thing and one is another. The quick thing is going to take over. For example, when a catcher becomes a pitcher,
Right.
when you have the two together, you don't see a catcher throwing like a pitcher, but you'll see a pitcher throwing like a catcher.
Yeah.
Because of this, the short arm. Once you have quickness, shortness, explosiveness one way, it's very hard to break that. That is why a conversation and education about the difference is the place to start, so that everyone really gets that pitching is a precision skill and completely different. Just because you're on the same team and you're all throwing a ball doesn't mean that the goal and the way you do it is the same. So yes, it's very interesting to me and kind of cool in the sense that when I see the same error, I always want to know, why are all the guys doing this? Because there's a reason. And if I can tap into that as a teaching moment for the pitcher, and when they get it, then they're able to say, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have that quick glove arm anymore. I don't want to have that weird front leg that still turns sideways when I land. I want to open that leg up. You don't do that in hitting. So once they get that cognitive connection, and for the kids, you coaches have to make the connection, and then you have to know what you're going to teach. And always say, hey, we do the glove arm this way when we're pitching, but on the field, you do it fast. So now let's work on the two different styles. Any way that you can position it so they see one is black, one is white. They can make that separation, and then their brain will develop a second folder for the movement. You can't just go into one folder when you play more than one position on a team.
Right.
So anyway, that's my takeaway.
Yeah, I never really thought about it before, but like you said, every position on the baseball field and hitting, it's all about speed and reaction. Whereas The pitcher is the one place where you're not reacting at all. You're in control of your body the entire time. I mean, even hitting, there's some precision in hitting, obviously, to hit the ball, but
Right.
it's really, you have to get to the ball as fast as you can. The pitcher can take all the time he wants before he lets go of the ball. So, an interesting point.
Yes, they're completely different skills, and the mindset's gotta be completely different, and the more you coaches can help your players at young ages separate it, then it becomes simple. But when you have something that you see is wrong and you can't fix it, you wanna say, "Why won't he change that?" Well, he hasn't made the connection. It works for him as a position player, and the glove arm, the incorrect speed of a glove arm moving faster than the entire motion controls the entire motion, and a glove arm error is one of the most, I would say I see it 98% of the time when somebody comes to me and says, "Something's wrong with my delivery." Almost 90% of the time, it's a timing problem, and 98% of that 90%, it's a timing problem of the glove arm being too fast, and these are guys that can be 18, 20, 24 that are having this, so it gets embedded, but you know what? It's the beauty of the body. It embeds things. It's why you don't have to think every time you take a step. So for sports skill, if you understand these things, it gives you a whole 'nother tool with which to work with making changes and adjustments for the kids.
Yeah. Something else I thought about, I was a pretty good hitter when I played. I cannot play golf for the life of me. And I think part of it is that I just can't separate the two different movements, the swinging of the club and the swinging of the bat. I think it's very similar with a position player moving to the mound. I mean, it's hard to just change everything when it's such a similar type of body movement.
Exactly. Yes, the closer they are, the more they will become one, and that's why things have to be separate. So, anyway, I was, excited to make that connection.
That's pretty neat.